welcome to Bass Banner. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Got Keith Flournoy and Guy Moore. I'm not sure if Jay and Quick is gonna be able to make it. Man, another defeat today. Bears fall 34-17.
Yeah, but the defeat doesn't feel as bad when you beat yourself up. You know, it's one thing if the other guy knocked you out, but if you just start punching yourself in the face, then you get exactly what you expect, I would imagine.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that hurt a little more because you know it's coming.
This team definitely found ways to self-destruct. I mean, you can't spot the other team 10 points right away. But I
not
really
optimal, yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at the two turnovers, neither one of them was like a great defensive play. That was just like not, like taking care of the ball more than anything, right? Like if you're getting the handoff, making sure you get the ball in there. And unfortunately, both of them was by Rome today, but you just can't spot a team 10 points when you're a bad team and they're a good team, and they want to make sure they get that one seed.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Roma Dunze's daddy done cut his Twitter page off for a while.
He needs to cut his tongue off for a minute. Hey, Dad, if you didn't play today, we don't want to hear from you. How about that?
Here you go.
If you played in the game and you are NFL player's daddy, then I want to hear about the game. Otherwise, I don't want to hear from you.
I'd imagine him when Rome was in Pee Wee football, stand on the sideline with his kid out there hollering at the coach. I can just imagine the coach put him in the suplex and just dropping him.
Well, at that level, he was probably always the best player. So you find out who people really are with a little adversity. Character doesn't come at happy times, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, if you got free time, let me know. I know you at work sometime on Sunday. I'll shoot you the link to come on.
Jimmy
said,
okay.
Yeah, Jimmy said Kayla looked good. Wow. Other than that fumble by Roma Dunze, the two fumbles. Well, one gonna go to Caleb, but Rome actually had a pretty good game. He caught a nice ball being contested. 4 catches for 77 yards, so that's pretty good. A long of 30 yards.
Yep.
We got to see a little bit more of that. He was targeted 7 times. Kenan Allen actually showed off today. Kenan Allen had 9 receptions for 141 yards, a TD. He was targeted 13 times.
And he made some difficult catches too. So
yeah.
I say, that's what we've been complaining about all these years. That's the Kenan Allen that's been a 6-time Pro Bowler. Okay, I can see that. But to my point, I saw on that touchdown run, he actually looked like he had a little old man speed still left. So he didn't look like he was carrying a full grand piano on his back. This time it was like a miniature piano that he was carrying on his back. So he made it to the end zone on this.
The little Yamaha keyboard that you get from Kroger's.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, but that other running back we had didn't do all that great today. Oh no, I'm sorry. I meant DJ Moore.
Oh well.
They just making this dude turn out to be a gimmick, man. And like we were talking offline, you were talking about how DJ was basically talking about vacation. And I said, this is what I've been saying the whole time, man. If your whole team has to buy in, man. Your whole team has to say, regardless of what happens, we got each other. We about to go and get this dub, and we're going to do everything we can. But when your dogs start talking about vacation, you can't be mad if the water boy is out here just trying to get a date tonight or something, So it's been a wrap, but it's just so much dysfunction around, man. It makes you kind of think who's going to be there and who's not next year.
Hey guys, one of the things I really like about the Bears Banner Show, just to pat ourselves on the back a little bit, is that it's always a place that you can learn more about the game. So in my example, I'm about to ask a question because I truly don't know the answer to this. So I figure I always get Bernard and Guy and Jay and Quick, and get our collective heads together, and I find out more and I learn more than I knew about the game as well. So the question that I have for you guys, not to go out of turn or whatever, but I saw Roshan Johnson play, and I know he's had a concussion for a couple games. This time, I was looking at him while he was playing, and he had this funny looking helmet on his head.
Mhm.
Does that
Yeah.
helmet supposed to decrease concussions, or what is special about that helmet versus the main helmet? I'm trying to understand why a guy would wear it versus not wear it. So if you got any insight to that, I'd appreciate
If I'm not mistaken, it was something that they kind of incorporated to kind of prevent concussions, but I don't think something like that's going to prevent a concussion because what you're talking about is going from 60 to zero. And it's your skull,
Okay.
your brain hitting the inside of your skull. I don't see what that's going to do. It looks good on TV. I mean, I guess it makes them psychologically feel better. But for what my understanding is, the question I asked, and when I looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute, somebody's helmet looked kind of funny. And then I
it.
saw this that
Like a
little bubble piece,
sponge.
that little pad that they got on there. I guess something's better than nothing. And I thought at one time that it wasn't part of the uniform that you were able to wear, but I guess now because all that money they making and guys coming out concussion protocol that they're allowing them to wear it. I guess it's supposed to like when you hit your head, of course, when it gives you a little more cushion, but man, that ain't the problem right there. The problem is somebody that's 6'3", 250 hitting you and going 20 miles an hour and jar the inside of your brain. Now, if you could put some type of sponge inside somebody's skull, then we talking.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't know if
sure.
it's
Yeah.
supposed to help or not. So I'm just trying to listen.
It's like a motorcycle helmet. It's
Is
like
it
to
okay?
me, it's like a motorcycle helmet. You know how some people on the motor, they say, oh, well, you wear this motorcycle helmet, it'll help your head. If you're doing 80 miles an hour, you hit something, that helmet ain't
Yeah,
gonna do nothing but just maybe make your face look pretty good when they put you in a casket.
yeah. Your point is based on physics. If your motorcycle is going 80 miles an hour and you get into
Mhm.
an accident,
Yep.
you're going 80 miles an hour too. So
Yes.
that's part of the problem.
Yep.
So it you know
Yeah.
it, it's been a lot of discussion about that, and I'm just looking at all of the players that have concussions, and I'm thinking about Jaquan Brisker. I'm like, okay, would
Mhm.
playing with that on his head actually help him from a concussion protocol and not get as many concussions? I don't know, but I didn't want to take it away from the game, but that game was so depressing, I had to talk about something that made me feel better.
No, that needed to be
Yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure
But that
myself,
needed to
but
be said though, because I think a whole lot of people look up like one of these things just doesn't belong here. Because I saw it, I was like, man, he got a pumpkin head helmet, and I'm looking at, it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, there you go.
that's that quote unquote concussion. I mean, if you physically like hit somebody on their head, on the top outside of their head or something like that. I mean, if you hit your head on the turf, I'm sure that may have a lot to do with it too, where you hit the head and it kind of sort of cushions it. But what people keep forgetting is when you fall down, regardless of how much cushion you got, your brain is inside hitting your skull.
Mm.
yeah,
So
yeah. Hey, Leon made a good point. I know we done brought it up a few times this year that the Bears don't really have that burner. I thought with them playing Tyler Scott a little bit more today that he at least get some shot at like running a route, even if it just run up the field and just throw it up and see if he can run under it.
mhm,
Because you can see the one play where they just threw it straight up the field on with Kennan, the play you talking about.
mhm.
That play was right on the money, and it made the scoring easy. But if you could get a couple of more isolation like that, because you could look at the difference between the Bears receiver speed and Detroit receiver speed. And also, we
Yeah.
talking about the running game, and we start talking about Roshan Johnson. If you look at the Bears, anybody who say the Bears running game is better this year, they cannot be watching the games. Swift to me
Uh,
is the worst running back the Bears had in a few years. Uh, man, you may
He'll
have
win
to
the
go
world's largest. He'll win the world's largest stepper set.
I think you have to go back to right near the end of when Matt Forte left and right before they got
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Howard, they had a little void right there in their running game. But ever since Jordan Howard coming forward, they kind of was able to pick up this running game. Because even all the guys last year, all of them got hurt, but all of them had over 500 yards. I mean,
Yep.
today, literally, it keeps showing that they have no confidence in running the ball where they're using DJ constantly in the run game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He can get short yards much better than Swift can. I'll tell you that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because he running, man, DJ running out of fear. So he ain't gonna do no stutter stepping, man. That doggone stutter stepping that Swift does, it just makes me want to set him on fire, man. It's like, why are you sitting out here showing us that you can tap dance, that your feet are fast? You know, it's like you doing that, and while the guy that's chasing you right there, you trying to fake him out. There's 3 or 4 other guys can just basically walk up and clobber you because you ain't going no doggone where.
Yeah,
I'm
I
laughing
pointed
at
that out about
Jimmy
game 2, I
Red.
think.
I'm laughing at Jimmy Red. He says it's not like when you're off falling off a mountain. He says it's not the fall that hurts you; it's the sudden stop. I say,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah,
I guess you got a point.
he ain't lying. Oh my God, man. But that's what we got to do, though, man. I mean, we know we playing bad, man. It's like, you know, of course it affects us to a respect that we're lifelong fans, but you got to find some humor in that, man. I mean, it's like it's at the point right now you can't be really mad. You could be, but
You could. It's not gonna help. Hey, this is why I wore my special shirt today. The beatings will continue until morale improves. So until we start feeling better about ourselves, we're gonna keep getting beat. So
yeah.
there you go.
Oh my God, that's funny, man.
Oh, geez.
You know, the Bears. One of the things about the Bears when you look at the game plan, pretty much all year, the Bears always come out passing, and
Yeah.
they don't establish any kind of rhythm where you really, to me, come out running. And I thought today, I know they got behind the 8 ball right away, but to me, it's because it's a product that they kind of came out, they kind of passed, then they ended up, I think they punted. Then the next series, they have a fumble. Then the next series after that, they have a fumble. But they really never established that they're going to run the ball. So play action never really will work. I know 2 weeks ago they was running the ball. Was that last week? But they were running successful, but they was running, but they never ran any play action off of that. But I thought today Caleb Williams had an excellent game watching them play, you know, based off the circumstances and being about 10 points down immediately. So
yeah. That that no first half offense whatsoever, that hurts us. You know, it seems like in the second half they always make some kind of adjustments, and you can see the offensive flow going a little bit better. But if you know that going into the game, you should try to design some different plays, design some things where it's an easier throw for Caleb Williams. Let the running backs know to expect the ball early. Something, it doesn't make sense to me that in the same game, one half you can't do anything, in the second half you're actually able to move the ball. So it would seem that they could have made some adjustments much earlier.
I was just thinking that, man. I was really just thinking that. I'm sitting up here looking. Caleb Williams was cooking. And I'm like, where has this, not saying he couldn't, but I'm like, why are they moving the ball? And just when you get just so excited about it, 3 consecutive penalties.
Yeah.
Hey, guy, I've been saying this all year. On the 35-yard line for the Bears, it becomes bad luck. Now, maybe the 32, the 38, they're okay. But somewhere around the 35-yard line, you got to expect the following things going to happen. They're going to get sacked, or they're going to have a false start, or they're going to have a holding penalty. And sometimes all of those actually happen.
And today, all 3 of them happen. At least variety is the spice of life.
Hey,
man,
I'm kind of glad today that we at least, one of my favorite players on the Bears actually was released from the witness protection program, and he actually got an opportunity to play on Sunday. Cole Kmet, there was a sighting of him He actually got a touchdown catch, and he looked like he was out there at least trying. So
So we
my
got to at
hats
least
off
check his
to him.
ID. We got to check his ID to make sure it's him.
It might not be him, but whoever was out there with his number on scored a touchdown. So that looked good.
But you know what? Here's
Well,
something
so
that tripped me up.
two for 9 yards. I mean, that's still not enough targets, but that's at least some sighting, right?
But let's look at the science of it all. Think about this. Komet is the biggest target that you got.
Yeah.
Why don't you feed that dude? Because guess what? You ain't gonna hit him. I don't care what type of safety you got that's got some pop speed. You ain't gonna hit that dude and knock him out. It's gonna take either you dragging him down or some other people. Why not feed him the ball, let him take some steps and get some yards, man? It's like I was doing this thing. So with Caleb this year, he's targeted DJ 25.5%, Keenan Allen 22%. Roma Dunze 20%, and Cole Kmet is 11.7. You know what I'm saying? It's like if we got this type of offense that we have, we don't have this Jay Cutler type deal where every game Jay Cutler was like, all right, y'all already know what this is. It's a heat check. I'm gonna throw this joker 80 yards. Give me 2 burners and let's do it. We're running a lot of offenses that are just really tight. Why don't you just give it to the guy and just let him work? You know, let him eat. But you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, guy, you make some great points. You know, one thing I like to always caution with wide receivers, man, I hate to say it, they're as good as they are the current year, and that's not to say anything negative about DJ or anybody else. And I know a lot of times we kind of like get caught up on receivers' productivity the year before. I'm gonna give an example of it. Allen Robinson had a great year in Chicago,
yep.
right? And it was a contract year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you had the Bears franchise tag.
Give him his money. We
Give him
argue
his money.
every week. That's what we said. Yeah.
Correct. The next year it was not so much. And so I'm gonna say this. DJ has had a crappy year, and we could blame whatever reason we want to blame. We can say
let's blame DJ.
Hey, some stuff falls on the player themselves. It's some stuff is attitude, right? If you don't want to go through the growing pains of a rookie, then you should not sign an extension of a contract, right? You should say, hey, I'd like to go somewhere else. You're not obligated. As much as fans want players to always stay in the same place, players sometimes, the longer they get in their career, they may not want to go through those cycles with rookie quarterbacks or rebuilding, which is okay. But he's been checked out to me all season. He's been checked out. He hasn't made the difficult catches. Matter of fact, he's probably more unreliable than reliable.
Yep.
He's a diva in a negative sense.
Speaking of divas in a negative sense, what in the heck is wrong with Tremaine Edmonds? Did he even play today? As many times as they ran the ball right up the middle, I'm like, this guy's a middle linebacker. He's making enough money. He's a 5 or 6 year vet. I would expect him to have a much better showing than he's done in the second half of this year. Actually, the first half of this year, he didn't do much either. But a lot of times it was masked because TJ Edwards at least looked like a competent linebacker. But now it looks like TJ Edwards is the only one on the team that's out there even trying to play linebacker. And I include that with Jack Sanborn, Lake Zurich native. I hope they made Jack walk back to Lake Zurich after that game. So.
But you're right, man. And here's the deal. Remember with the text I said Edmonds is day to day. It just ain't today. I was looking, you know what? And it's sad as fans, and we know what positions guys play. When we actually sitting out there looking for dudes, you know what I'm saying? You can see guys. You'll see, man, 53 is there. 53 with the tackle. 53 incompletion. 53, all you got knocked down.
Right.
Edmonds, it's like, is he even here? And it take you 2 or 3 plays like, dang, he really is. But you know what? But to go back on what you were saying, man, about DJ, it's 100% true. And if it's not true, any of y'all that just saw that Washington Commanders-Eagles game, when the Eagles kicked that field goal to go up, you looked at all the Washington players. It was like, bet that. Okay, here we come. Every last person had that mindset. And what happened? They ended up winning the game. when your diva, when your ace receiver, like I said, is sitting up here in interviews talking about going on vacation, you can't, it's demoralizing. That's
with
supposed to
with
be
3
your
or
one.
4 games left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When that's your guy and he talking like that, you can't expect everybody. This is what we get when we get. And the sad part for Caleb is Caleb seems frustrated, but he get knocked down, beat up, and his whole demeanor the same thing. Okay, I'm about to get up and about to do this thing. But when he ain't got nobody with him, it's basically a recipe for death, man.
Yeah, he needs to get off, all the histrionics as well. So, Caleb is getting hit and looking like he's hurt, and oh man, it hit me. We get it. You're a
Yeah,
football player. They paying you $30 million.
yeah.
Get up and get ready for next play. So all of the I'm hurt or whatever. I'm not a fan of that. I'm sorry.
He probably LeBron
Now,
friend.
the one advantage of that though, Plank, is this: if you don't do it, black quarterbacks will not get rough in the passer. Black
That's true.
quarterbacks do
That's
have
very
to
true.
sell that those hits hurt. If you never sell it, you won't get it. So I will say today,
Okay.
he got that rough in the passer. I think it was twice today. He got
I
it.
think you're right.
I know
I
it
think
once
you're
for
right.
sure. Yeah,
But
so I
I
agree
know
with
You
you,
never
but
get a rough
I'm
in a
just pointing
passer
that
call
out.
when you're on the sidelines and the camera's on you. You like, oh, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
that don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. He need a
That's
cat. A
true.
black quarterback, you need to be on the field and they need to be rolling a casket out there. Okay,
Yeah.
unsportsmanlike conduct, wheels broken on the casket, something like that. Yeah, but his body language. But see, the thing is, it's a lot of rookies that were like that dude in college. That's that eye opener when they don't get the calls that they used to getting. When there's certain things, it's just like by a hair of a thread that always favors them. It doesn't go their way. Your character just shows to be able to just brush yourself up. Your boy over there, Jalen Hurts, he ain't crying. He just balling. And like I said, no, it's Jaden. I keep getting Hurts and Daniels mixed up.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels is your rookie of the year right now.
Yeah.
And that dude, man, and he's been getting clobbered too. But by the same token, his whole mindset is, I'm not going to let my teammates see me look like I'm broke off. I'm the leader of this team. I'm the quarterback. I got to show them I could do this. But having that attitude, people laugh at. I guarantee you, if anybody laughed at the Washington Commanders at any time this year, I bet they're not laughing now. Even if Hurts did get knocked out after 11 plays, they beat a team that won what? 11 in a row or something like that.
10 straight. Yeah. Plank, but that's a great, excellent point. And you know what? That's why the veterans have to set the tone.
Yep.
And I know people think we just talking crap. I'm telling you, when DJ is walking off the field and going in about 5 games ago and laying on the bench in the middle of a play, right? You're saying that kind of body language is okay. Now, the only thing the backlash all he got was he need to I think it was like more so did he quit on the play or was he's injured or blah blah blah. But it was no question in his toughness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But so that's the only difference but the veteran players have to set the tone of that stuff because like you just mentioned with the Washington game, I knew soon as the Eagles dropped that pass, I sent y'all a text. I was like, Washington is just as lucky as the Bears are unlucky. Because that team believes in themselves. The Bears team do not believe in themselves. And some of that is coming from we changed some coaches. It's coming from the veterans. The veterans should not be getting used to losing. If they're starting to tell a quarterback, I don't care what he asks about, man, I ain't never experienced it. They should be like, man, I ain't experienced this either. I want to win a game. Why are you trying to get your players comfortable with learning how to lose?
Yeah, if that's the case, then we don't need you on the team. Forget everybody else.
Yep.
I saw Jalen Johnson get a bad get a call today, a penalty, and when I looked at that, I was a little bit angry. But based on my playing as well, any sport I've ever played, when I'm down, I get really angry.
Mm-hmm.
So that ain't the time to start giving up or letting the other person just have free plays. That's the time to say, okay, I'm about to have a tremendous comeback. So, that's my attitude. I'm trying to make a big play, whether it's an interception or a knockout or whatever it is. I'm trying to
Mhm.
make a good play to encourage not just the team but myself. Because regardless what the score is, I'm not going to give up. So I like to see football players or guys that represent Chicago Bears with that same mentality. So from Jalen Johnson's standpoint, I'm not going to eat his lunch for him getting that penalty. At least he slapped the dude. So
Yeah.
I think watching them play defensively. I know we just jumped defensively. I believe, from my perception, Jalen Johnson, T.J. Edwards, and maybe Byer sometime here and there. But those two for sure, TJ and Jalen, are the ones that I kind of say they're giving their all on
yep,
defense.
yep,
They're really getting it up. Because even right now, when I watch Kyler Gordon since he's been back from the injury, he's really just been kind of non-effective. You catching too many of the defensive players who are just standing there waiting on tackles. They're not going to get that tackle, but I see Jalen going to get that tackle. Jalen actually is a good tackler. He wraps his guys up. He usually grab a body part if you can't bring them down. TJ putting hits on guys.
yep.
Edmonds is MIA. Sanborn MIA.
Man, from Tyler Gordon's standpoint, when you can't count on Spider-Man, you know you in trouble, man. Spider-Man's supposed to show up, when somebody about to rob me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm scared. Then all of a sudden, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man show up and slap a couple people around. So if you're gonna be Spider-Man, man, you gotta be Spider-Man. I'm scared of it.
That ain't
I'm mad
Spider
at him.
Man. That's Peter Park out there, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, But here's something else, man, that I never thought that I would even say, man. That team really, really misses Jaquan Brisker, man.
Yeah.
He would just get so animated and crazy, and we used to
Yeah,
sit up here
he's
like, man,
angry.
will you just shut up? Will you just stop? But now, as the season progresses and we look at it and kind of understand it a little more, it's like, you know what? As much as we kind of talked about it, whatever it is, that's what the team is missing. And you can't say he ain't playing hard because he's playing hard enough to where he's got them concussions, but we don't have that outside of Edwards. And TJ Edwards is just a quiet guy. He just pack his lunch, come up, show up to work, put his head down, don't talk trash, don't none. He'll light you up, keep it moving. We need we need it. Well, right now we don't need nothing. We really just need a vacation. But
Yeah, I
that's
don't know that I've ever heard of since the CTE and all of that a guy was out more than half the season for a concussion. So
right.
in this case, we've got Jaquan Brisker's out. So Ryan Bates too, who
Yep.
was offensive guard that we thought was going to make a difference for us. Ryan Poles was trying to get for a number of years, and he's in concussion protocol. So there's a whole lot that's not known about concussions and concussion protocols, but it's interesting how some teams still got guys get out there after 2 or 3 games versus I don't know if it's abundance of caution or whatever, and I've never taken anybody else's health lightly, but we just like to have more information as the fan base. That's all
And
I'm
they
saying.
won't, because I think it's probably from my experience of looking at concussions. And I say this funny, but I'm serious. Jaquan's probably at O'Hare right now talking about, yeah, let me get a ticket. Let me get a round trip to Pittsburgh. We about to play the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
where people, I guess for people that don't understand what a concussion is when the motion or whatever you hit, like I say, going from like 0 to 6, like 60 to 0, when you make a complete stop, what happens is your brain hits your skull and bruises,
yep,
which causes certain types of memory loss. It causes certain type
yep,
of cerebral damage. And what happens is they sit you out to allow your brain to heal the bruise. Sometimes what happens with the CTE is you see guys that get it so much to whereas that bruise never heals, which is why, and God rest his soul, my guy, Dave Durison, and I'll go into this without even getting into it. He had this little situation where it was a domestic dispute thing with his lady. Everybody just dogged this dude. Oh, he's not that type of guy. For a guy who spent a lot of time around him, when I heard about it, I thought somebody was playing a joke. But he's just a nice guy. And then, next thing you know, down the line, he passed away. and they did an autopsy on it. He had advanced CTE. And when your brain doesn't heal, people think that you could just stop doing stuff. But when part of your cortex doesn't heal, you just don't become, you're not the same person, So I think there's some with him. I think there's a lot more. I'm hoping and praying that it's just some other type of injury that he's trying to deal with, and it's not that. Because if he's out this long because of that, I personally, in my opinion, he need to hang it up.
Well, from my experience, there was an issue over my career, playing high school football, grammar school football, also in martial arts, where I've been concussed, and I even knew I was being concussed. And most people don't realize how it feels. It feels like all of a sudden you see a lot of little bright lights.
Yep.
You make contact with somebody, and then you see a whole lot of like people say you see in stars or whatever, but you see the little bright lights, and you end up. In my case, I lost any knowledge about what happened the last half an hour. So I kept asking people. I was like, "Hey, what happened to me?" And they were like, "Hey, you got punched, you got knocked out." And I was like, "Really? Who knocked me out?" They say, "Okay, Johnny knocked me out." I said, "Okay." Then 10 minutes later, I say, "What happened to me?" They say, "You got knocked out." Who knocked me out? Johnny knocked me out. And you have no awareness of whatever just happened. So it's something that can't be taken lightly.
Right.
But, I don't know if they're ever going to be able to treat that successfully. I don't know what the answer to that's going to be. So
since Briscoe been out, it's kind of a mixed result of this, because I could say the opponents were weaker opponents early on, but I just want to put that as a caveat, because I really can't say, but I would say after that point, the defense have been on the decline, and I would say because also not only of his ability, he's a hard hitter as well, but I think they miss his leadership, like you were talking about, the leadership and also helping the defense in other ways. But when you watch the Bears play, their defense, I know they do something that Ray Lewis, I remember bringing up a few years ago. The Bears defense don't communicate. And you don't see them out there kind of like talking to each other and like talking about a play real quick. Like if you see a busted coverage, it's kind of like a busted coverage. So what? It's like nobody like really, they may look at each other, but it's really nothing like, let's adjust what happened. Like, and you don't see guys like, okay, this is what's going on, right? Point to a guy and tell another guy, hey, come over here. I mean, you can see them sometimes if they're not they're not ready for defense. They're just not ready. It's not like nobody is like identifying what's going on. So I think one of the things I would say overall with this team is it lacks leadership on offense. Who is the leader of the offensive line? I have no clue. One, everybody's always hurt.
The football.
But it's nobody. Yeah. Normally it's the center. Or maybe a left tackle or something. But there's nobody in that. Matter of fact, I don't even think one of them a captain on this team.
It's kind of hard as a center to get run over and then get up and be a leader. I done seen him run over at least 4 games. Somebody right in front of him puts they cleat foot in his chest and keeps running and tackles the quarterback. I'm like, man, that's about as disrespectful a thing as you can see from offensive line play.
But we've seen what great defenses look like. Now, when I put that video in the group about the 85 Bears, and it was for a completely different reason. A lot of people, because they're celebrating all that stuff. I wanted people to see the eyes of Singletary, Otis Wilson, and Plank when they were, Gary Fensick, when they were just talking about certain situations. It was like their eyes just lit up and they all were on the same page, man. A great defense is just one person. And what I mean by they're all together as one person, everybody knows what everybody's going to do, and everybody knows what their assignment is, and they know when to adjust and how to adjust together per man. You got 2 or 3 guys on defense like, well, what city we in? You know what I'm saying? It's like when you on defense, if there's any disconnect, like when we talk about Briscoe, what he brings, you could bring in a guy who's better than Briscoe, and still not be as effective. Sometimes, like when you mold your defense and you got guys there and it's just a certain specific skill set or demeanor that they have fits perfectly, you can bring in a better piece and it makes them worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that's
to your
why I
point,
like,
guy,
yeah.
it makes it look, a lot of times defensive communicating can be intimidating. Even if they don't know if you can communicating the right thing or not. Just to
Yep.
see two guys talking and say, hey, I got this, it might not actually even be the play. But the
Mm-hmm.
idea that you're already up and you're ahead of what the offense is
Mm-hmm.
doing can be intimidating. So it makes a difference.
Yep.
Mhm.
When they talk about with Singletary, they talk about Singletary, I see those eyes. It's not just the eyes. It's just the fact that when he's looking at you like that, there is nothing that you can run to trick this dude. He is going to be on your ASS. And like you said, that is the scariest thing for offense. When you face the defense, no matter what type of gimmick play, no matter what type of bread and butter play you got, them dudes is about to stop you.
Man,
Mhm.
those were defenses that we used to watch from home, and we would be scared of those guys playing. There's
Yeah.
no chance of him hitting you, and you looking at his eyes like, man, I don't want to run into this dude in the alley.
Mhm.
Well,
So,
this dude, man, wait. Hold on a second. This tribe of Judah guy. Well, only reason why we would put Bajan in is because we trying to save Caleb.
Agent,
And that's it.
what?
That's what he said. He said put Bajan, he called him garbage time Caleb.
Okay, well,
Caleb garbage time
I'm not even
wins.
gonna address that. I'm gonna
Right.
be above that and try to be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So when you look at today's game, you could still go through 15 games now, and you could say offensively, the Bears really don't have an identity still.
Right.
Even on short yardage, they really not sure what they're gonna do.
Yep.
They suited up Roshan Johnson today, but when they had the play early in the game, when they went for it, I think when they go for a fourth, they don't run the ball at all. Then when they get to and I think late in the game, they had a play where they might have been next to the last possession. On first down, there was a penalty, so it ended up 1st and 5. I don't understand why
Mm-hmm.
you just want to bring Roshan in and get the 5 yards. If you do, and end up having, or at least at worst case scenario, it's 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 3, but you got 1st and 5, and then you run a play with DJ where he fumbles the ball bounces back up in his hand, and he loses 2 yards. Then the next play, you have, I want to say it was a sack. Then the next play after that, you have, I think, a false start. So when you get the third down, it's 3rd and 25. How do you go from 1st and 5 to 3rd and 25? So it's not managing the downs correctly. Because why? You don't believe you can run the ball, and like I said, you're making DJ into you try to make him into a Debo Sanders, really. But look look what Debo is at in his career at this point now. Debo pretty much looks like he's washed. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
this season been horrible for him.
I tell you what, Ryan Poles looked like he made a major mistake with getting rid of Khalil Herbert, because this guy was a serviceable running back that actually was pretty good. But even between the tackles, he had speed. He actually even made the tough runs from time to time. So why you kept, two guys who were unproven and got rid of Khalil Herbert? I don't know. What did we get for him? A 7th round draft choice? I would have rather had him on the team for a 7th round draft choice. So maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure what that was about, because it seemed like from this year started that they was kind of set on not letting them play other than
Right.
special teams. And then I think like maybe about the third game, what's the back name? The other back got hurt.
Travis, what's his
Yeah,
name?
Travis got hurt, and so that's when Khalil got a few carries. But then after
Mm-hmm.
that, they kind of went to Roshan, and Roshan got hurt. Then after that, he was inactive for like 2 or 3 games before the trade
Right.
deadline. So I guess they made up in their mind that whatever reason they was gonna get rid of Khalil Herbert. So that's just a collection of mistakes that he made. But anyway, overall, when you watch this team, I still keep saying they got worse in every facet of the game other than the receivers on paper. The line
Yeah.
got worse. The defensive line got worse. The offensive line got worse. Matter of fact, even if you look at the time to throw, as much as we complain about Caleb holding the ball, actually, if you look at the time to throw last year, I think the time to throw, Justin Fields might have held the ball. What was like 3.2,
He at
3.2.
least made it to 3. Right.
Correct. It was over the threes.
Right.
Caleb actually is 2.85 the time to throw.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you look at the yards per carry, the running game has gotten worse. The defense actually give up more points. I mean, they started off getting turnovers. They probably haven't had a real legitimate turnover in a while. You know?
Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Wow. But guys try to be too innovative. A lot of times people try to do some stuff thinking, oh, well, I'm going to get rid of this guy. We're going to put this in. It's going to change everything. But innovation only happens on its own. When you actually implement something and it's so great, it becomes that. When you got rid of Herbert, you kind of have to think about something. Why would I get rid of a guy who, as much as you may say the running back room is kind of full, that dude's been on the field and proved to you what he can do. If it's any one person that you would say, okay, we're going to put him to the side because he's already here. Now let's look what else. But now you fast forward, and just like you said, Herbert would have been perfect for us right now.
Yeah.
And let me throw a shout out. I'm missing one of the guys from the team, from the podcast. I'm missing Jay today. I'm going to call him Jay Blue Thanos because he's a Sigma. Beasley. I'm pretty sure. Jay said a couple games ago that he didn't think the Bears were going to win another game this season. Yep. And strangely enough, it's starting to look like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I need to make a correction on the stat I showed earlier. Let me put it back up. So for those who saw it earlier, I'm sorry, I must correct that stat. Caleb Williams threw for 334 yards today, two TDs, a 101.7 quarterback rating, 65% completion. I think there was about 2 or 3 drops in this game. That's a solid game.
That is.
They finally scored in the first half. I mean, the Bears just cannot. I mean, you're a bad team. Like, you have to go back to the beginning. You cannot spot a team 10 points from turnovers. You just can't do it.
And as ineffective as we've been, think about it. Caleb is less than 100 yards away from 3,000 yards as a rookie.
You know what, Bernard? Just looking at the box score, I gotta correct something I said earlier. I was talking about how the Bears don't score any points in the first half and come back and make the difference in the second half. It looks like in the first half the Bears actually scored 14 points in the second quarter. Yeah. And so the second half was the half where we came back and laid a goose egg. We got one field goal, but other than that, we didn't make any adjustments in the second half. So
right.
Let me make let me acknowledge the correction of my mistaken thought process on that. So
what was weird, they were aggressive. They were aggressive in the second quarter.
Yep.
And they became conservative in the third quarter, right?
Yep.
Because there was even a time where you like, why are you actually punting now at this point? I mean, why are you punting? I mean, the game is out of reach, but you can still work some plays. So It's like they almost got themselves like trying to make it a game going into halftime. But then when they came out of halftime, they kind of went flat where they kind of possessed the ball but didn't do much with those possessions as far as scoring.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys, let's play coach right now. You guys are running the Bears right now. These next 3 games.
Kill yourself. I'm sorry.
Well, death is not an option here.
Okay.
But what do you think should happen? What do you think should happen with the team going forward these next 3 games? How would you deal with that?
Oh, it's 2 now.
Yeah, I hope we didn't have 3 games left. But
okay, we got
Seattle versus Green Bay. I think the Green Bay game, you have to come in and put your best foot forward no matter what. This is a rival, or as far as the last few years, the rivalry has been one way. But if you want to establish any kind of credibility or cadence, you have to play Green Bay hard. Not just play them hard, but you got to play to win. So if Thomas Brown and the coaching staff and the GM and the president, if everybody in the Bears organization doesn't realize that, then they've truly lost the fan base. For
Yep.
Green Bay, the expectation is that the Chicago Bears will show up, will bring it, will come hard, and not just play to not lose, but to play to win. So, as far as I'm concerned, if I see that for the new year, that at least leads us into a successful offseason where I can still hold on to hope because I'm always going to cheer for the Bears and what have you. But they got to show us something. They really do.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
think
bench
what you have
Caleb?
to do what that do you play him?
Do you bench Caleb, or do you play him?
Oh no, he
I
plays.
play him. I play him because
I expected that from y'all. I did. Yeah, I did.
because you know what you saw today was him working through his progression a whole lot faster. You saw the potentials of how much better he sees the field when he's not under duress doing the play. So the biggest problem you have, even announcers saying, is their inability to just run the ball or have confidence and belief that they can run the ball. So if I'm the Bears offense, I bring up whoever I can from the practice squad to get some reps at running back. Right? We know the next game is Thursday, but look, if you're not confident that your running backs can run the ball and you're just starting to give it to your receiver, because that's really what happened in there. You gave her one of the fumbles was Roma Doomsday coming around for a handoff, but you had just ran a handoff a few plays before that to DJ Moore. So you're not even 5 minutes into the game and you running your two wideouts.
That's a terrible design. You're right.
You know,
it's one thing if you're doing it in the fourth quarter because you're down and you don't have any running backs available. It's another thing to go into the game with the plan being we're gonna throw a whole bunch of wide receiver, reverse plays. Really? You don't think NFL teams can pick that up? They can see different formations. They can see coverage. They can see guys going in motion, and that's what they're looking out for. So that's almost a grammar school offense. If your plan is to go out with a bunch of wide receiver in the round plays, that might happen once. It's not going to happen continually.
Only gimmick plays like the one that the Lions did today where two guys fall down and everybody think the world is over and they throw a wide open touchdown. You know what? That number one, everybody in the league knows what everybody else runs. And there's only so many possibilities out of each play that can happen. And they know it. You just have to be right on it. So it's like that Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circus stuff. You ain't fooling nobody with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, guy. There's only one running back that I've ever seen make successful positive plays off a running back reverse or end around, and that was Bernard Muhammad. They senior year, the coach ended up running that play like 10 times in a row, and I was like, you are not fooling anybody. And Bernard was just so angry. He was like, man, they ain't tackling me for a loss. I don't care what happens.
Yeah, but they wouldn't
that in the running back though, man.
Right, but they wouldn't beat him up around Roberson because everybody knew him, but he was trying to dodge Roberson so they wouldn't see that maroon and gold, and that's where he got his stuff from. Running down normal, going on normal, all on normal.
On the field, he was punching Robeson's all state defensive end in the stomach every play. I was like, man, how you get away with that? He's like, hey,
but you see him. But guess what though? And the reason why he got the respect is in the summer you see him up at Hamilton Park. You was punching me in my stomach. Why you do that,
Bernard? Yeah. So hey, thanks for the kind words. But watching them play, other than what the question you asked, Guy, is I'm going to try to do some evaluation of players, but not to the detriment of my offense, right? When I say my offense, not to the detriment of my quarterback, but I may bring in and give some time to. You got to go and get Tyler Scott some playing time on the offense. Like I said, you got to look at some of your other running backs, because to me, at this point, you may have to consider moving DeAndre Swift in the offseason and just take whatever salary cap you hit, because you may have to, with all those draft picks you got, you can find somebody better in the draft than DeAndre Swift. I mean,
Mhm.
I hate to give up on the guy, and I ain't saying he's not gonna have no good runs on another team. I'm just saying he's just not a good running back. He's a good player catching screens out the backfield. He's a good
Swiss
Mhm.
player
Army knife.
making some toss plays. But if you watch, for example, him and Gibbs, I mentioned this early, running the ball, it's a total difference of when one guy get the ball,
Yeah.
he's getting 5 yards because he's going forward, where another guy's actually sitting up there, cha-cha sliding.
Mhm. Yep. You
Yeah.
know what it gives remind me of that guy that be at that mosh pit and he just jump in. He's just like, man, here I come. You know, and it's like and Swift be looking like he trying to double dutch, like kind of double dutch around it. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
with what we have with our offense, we need a guy that could go up in some guts. I mean, I think Roshan could if they had the mindset to give him more reps to do that. I would play. Well, that's one thing I would do these last 2 games. I would give him more time to see what we could do with him. Is he going to be a power guy, a big power guy, or is he just going to be just a regular guy? Caleb absolutely doesn't sit because you know we old school guys. You know it was like I always my coach told me something and I didn't even understand, didn't believe it until I got to college. He said you get hurt when you think you're gonna get hurt, and if that's a lie, look at Michael Jordan. 14
Yeah.
years, 9 of them he played all games. He played 81 twice, 80, and then 78 games outside of getting hurt a couple times. Play had a contract, had a thing in his contract saying he could play basketball anywhere. So this dude was always in a game. And then he goes to practice and plays hard. Then he does sets a bubble up at damn what do you call it, the Space Jam set to
Hmm.
play some straight up hardcore basketball. That ain't load
Mhm.
management. That's a dude that love to play. And when you start getting guys out here worried about getting injured, they need to go ahead and try to nurse him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You don't get hurt. You don't get hurt on one play. You get injured on one. On 2 plays, you get hurt on one play.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
either you injured or you're not. So that whole
Mhm.
I had a bad wrist, so I've been playing the last 12 games. Look, if you've been playing, you're not hurt.
Right,
So
Man.
right.
that's just how it works.
Hey, y'all want let's get some grades on the,
Ooh,
the grades that we can give, right?
where
Ooh,
where's my
You know
red marker at?
what?
man. I
You
need to
know
get
what?
them
When I
granny
my
glasses.
grades look my grades looking at the Bears game today. I thought the offensive play calling as usual. It's not really it's not good enough. Thomas Brown has did an admirable job to just come in and just try to keep the ship together, but it's not really good enough. It's not creative enough. As far as from the coaching perspective, offensively, I have to get him uh, a C minus. But I'm going to. I know I normally don't talk about grading the quarterback, so I'm just trolling the trolls out there. If you watch Caleb Williams play today and you walk away today thinking he's horrible, then I don't know. I mean, maybe you got 8 eyes, or maybe you can't see, or you just hate Caleb Williams. I don't know, but I give this is one of the good performance by Caleb Williams. Good performance by the receiving core at the most part. They made some difficult catches. They caught balls in traffic. They high pointed some balls. We had a long run by Cannon. So as far as the players, I think the line protected well today. I just think the play calling offensively today just was not good enough. That's why I give the offense a C minus on coaching. What y'all got playing for offense grade?
Yeah, for offense, to your point, offense looked at least like a regular season NFL offense for the second quarter into the third quarter. But not to get any points, not to get it done in the first quarter and the fourth quarter, that says a lot about who you are. You didn't come out being ready to play the game, and when the chips got down in the fourth quarter, you didn't come out for that either. So I got to give the offense a D, even though I think Caleb Williams did pretty well. Especially from a statistical standpoint, from staying in there and trying to at least drive the ball down the field. We got an idea of what this team can be. However, we can't be satisfied with, not scoring and having a number of games where we came out with 9 points or what have you. So I'm gonna give the offense a D, maybe a D plus. Uh, That's just kind of how I feel about it. No running game that had to hurt us.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I'll give him the D plus. And you know what? Here's my thing with Brown, man. I think he's pretty decent offensive coordinator, but I just think being a coach is a couple levels a little too much over his head. I think he's a little more overwhelmed now. Just at one point, just having to deal with being an offensive coordinator to now you have to kind of finagle and manage men on both sides of the ball, plus personnel and everything else. And I don't think he's ready for it. Offense, you got a team that played against a defense that's given up 35 and a half points in the last two games. And I know these teams were better, but you only score half of that. I was encouraged by some of the things that I saw, but I got to give them a D because it just seems like they get to a certain number and it's like they sitting in quicksand.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, because you know what? I'm gonna look at the Washington game against the Eagles. This is why you have to keep playing the game regardless of you get down in the game. That's why a lot of time when people saying garbage time stats, they just dislike players. That's just the truth of what it is. Because if you look at this game with Washington was down 21-7 in the first quarter.
Good plan.
Okay, they
Yep.
turned the ball over 4 times in that game. But guess what? They didn't quit. The players did not quit. The players kept playing. They caught some breaks. I mean, they caught a lot of breaks, but guess what? That's why you got to keep playing the game. That's why players can't check out. But good teams make their own luck. But go over to the defensive side as far as grades.
Oh, one other thing I want to say about offense before we move off. The Chicago Bears, as an organization, have made some pretty horrible decisions this year. And as far as having an offensive when they fired Shane Waldron, that was a good decision. And they replaced him with Thomas Brown. That was the best decision that we had available. Thomas Brown had some kind of synergy with Caleb Williams, and he made the offense look better. So instead of just leaving him where he can continue to work with the relationship with the rookie quarterback, elevated him to head coach, which now changed the whole relationship that he had with the rookie quarterback. So that's one of the things that just it seemed like it was a good idea, but it really was a boneheaded idea. Somebody else maybe should have been elevated in order to look over the whole team. Just leave Thomas Brown in the situation that he was already comfortable and having success with. But I guess it's a little late to have that conversation now. All right, so let's go defense. What you got?
That's why initially I had made the Jeff Saturday comparison when they were about to do it, and I said they should bring somebody outside to kind of do it versus moving Thomas Brown. But defense, hey guy, you got something on defense? You got your grade for defense, guy?
Yeah, 3 fingers. No, 3 fingers. You know how it go. I'm giving them a D minus. And the reason why is it's not saying that they didn't play hard. It just guys were wide open. It just seemed like guys were just going through the motions. Okay, dude, here, let's try to tackle him. Oh, I can't get him down. He's gonna take a couple steps, but I have faith that after a couple yards, he's gonna fall down. It's just like they showed up, but they didn't show up. So yeah, D minus for me, man.
Okay, D minus.
Well, I'll tell you what, guy. If you think the defense showed up, you definitely saw some magic tricks I didn't see at all. As far as I'm concerned, the defense gave up 34 points.
Yeah.
And they've been consistently giving up points. So this isn't a cumulative grade on the second half of the season. This is this game. They couldn't stop the run, and then they made up for that by not being able to stop the pass. So the defense, this is what an example of truly horrible defense looks like in NFL. The Bears got an F from defense. No turnovers, not able to stop the run, not able to stop the pass. The other team punted one time the entire game. That's an F.
Yeah, Plank. I get it. I get a defense F. Even though the offense had those 2 turnovers and they actually was able to stop 1 to 3 points, but still, at the most part, they could not get the other team off. And if you look at the last few games, the other teams have barely punted on the Bears in the last few games. They can't stop the run. Too many free runners constantly in the passing game, and you can't get to the quarterback. Which I mean, it's like you see guys moving, but whatever reason, they never seem to get to the quarterback. So with that, I mean, that's just an F performance. And regardless of how much anything else improve, improve or just stays the same, you cannot win in the NFL giving up 24 more points. It's gonna be hard to win. That means you got to have shootouts all the time, but they're just not good enough defensively to have a winning record. I mean, that's the truth. They're not good enough defensively to have a winning record.
Yeah, Bernard, it's like our defensive line is comfortable looking like they're rushing the passer. There's a difference between looking like you're rushing a passer and rushing the passer. Yeah. So anytime you got a quarterback acting like he tripped, and on the same play, the running back acting like he tripped, and you still not any closer to making a tackle on him, and he turns around and say, "Oh, that's my wide receiver 50 yards down the field. Let me throw it at him." That was pretty horrible defense. That's probably the worst defense I've seen the Bears play this year.
And damn, doggone Amon-Ra St. Brown looked like a Hall of Fame receiver today.
Well, we had the worst of the St. Brown brothers. So I take the daddy now. Let's see if the dad can do any better. Cause
man, yeah. Who's my other guy, the receiver that they had? I keep forgetting his name too. Is it Williams?
Oh, yeah. I believe it's Williamson. Maybe it's
Williamson. That's a doggone shame because he's one of my fans.
Yeah.
I was looking at my doggone. I had him as a fantasy receiver, man. In the third quarter, he had 25 fantasy points. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, they were killing us. I mean, it was like bad. It was almost like they were like throwing the ball. It was like, here, throw the ball. Okay. All right. You ready? You ready? Did you catch it yet? Oh, okay. I'm gonna chase you. It was like nothing. It was just like watching our defense go in slow motion and everybody else like, like that one on Benny Hill where this guy running as fast. He's like driving as fast as he can in a car, and this little squirrel is on a skateboard just rolling by and dusting him. That's what I felt like our defense looked like, man. We just
his name is Jameson Williams. If you think about it, he had an 82-yard reception today.
Man,
so that's part of why you got down early, right? Because even though you had the 2 turnovers, one of them, if I remember correctly, was turned into that 82-yard reception, or if not, it was the next series of plays right away. You can't give up plays, that big of plays in the NFL. And then it was plays where it's like, I can't even say they was missing tackles today. It like they was actually missing the person. Not missing the tackle. They just missing the person totally.
Hey, Jonathan Owens got buried so bad on that play. I think Simone Biles would have played better defense to represent that family.
Simone Biles got them going to see a therapist tomorrow.
You know what? Let's go to special teams. Special teams was just average. I'm gonna continue to say this all year, and I know we have some kind of I don't know what would be PSTD or whatever it is from when we traded, didn't sign Bobby Gold and the kicker did the double doink.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna keep saying this. We got to get over that. At one point, they were about to kick a 60-yard field goal attempt to, if they had not lost yards on the before the snap, a false start or whatever it was. That means they have confidence that their kicker could kick a 60-yarder. We don't have confidence that our guy could even kick a 52-yarder. I mean, I'm telling you, it's making a difference. The other day, Chargers did a free kick for 57 yards.
Let me tell you something, Bernard. Detroit was going to try a 60-yard field goal. You're right. They ended up getting a 5-yard penalty, and we said, man, okay. Then Detroit said, you know what? We're going to try a 65-yard field goal. Talk about the difference between two kicking teams. They were comfortable trying the 65-yard field goal, and it went right left.
Yep, it did.
They actually tried a 65-yard field goal, and they didn't make it, but they were comfortable enough at least giving it a try.
At this point of the season, you know what I would do? I would go to Tory Taylor, say, hey, can you kick a field goal? Like, yeah, okay, we're on our own 40-yard line. So it's like a it's like an 80-some yard. I think he could probably do it too, man. But here's a funny thing that I heard on my way in. I was listening to the radio. I think Tory Taylor has one of the highest punting averages or something like that since 1939 or something. It's something that they said about
Wow.
him that he hasn't done. But this kid right here with that boot that he got, what worse can you do? It's like if you miss the field goal, get a guy come up, you get him come up, the guy misses, and you bring him in. You can laugh your butt off. He may miss the field goal, but if you see it zoom past the field goal, it's like, well, we on the midfield and we need to kick a field goal. We need to call dude. Because dude looked like the Ziegfeld Folly girls that be kicking when he kick a ball. It's almost like he hit himself in the face with his knee, man. But this ball, it's something about this dude, man. What you run? Hey, you let DJ Moore be a running back. Why not let him kick field goals? You know,
You didn't just say Ziegfeld Follies. I know you didn't just do that.
yeah, man. That dude, them chicks that be kicking their feet up in it, man. This dude, man. But watch when he kicked the ball. If you imagine if he was a bouncer, remember when bouncers used to kick dudes in the butts out? Imagine him being a bouncer, man. Dude, well, okay, it was a family show. I digress.
So I think overall coaching, man, it's hard. Man, overall coaching, I'm gonna have to get him. And I want to get him an F. I get him like a D minus as far as overall coach. Man, it got to be an F because you know what? Defensively,
Yeah.
you just don't look. I'm sorry, Ed Washington. You just haven't been able to get it done.
Right.
Because they given up more points than they ever gave up all year consistently since Eric Washington has taken over.
Right.
Offensively, they're not getting enough points to actually win an NFL game. Because even with TB taking over, I think the first game they had 19, then maybe they had 20, then they went down to 13, they went down to 12, today they got 17. You could accidentally get touchdowns better than what he's doing. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that ship that sailed on you, TB. You gave it a valid effort.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man.
So whoever the next coach is had to bring in an entire staff and pretty much replace everybody that we had.
Yeah.
Or Jesus and his other disciples. At least we'd have a chance to make the playoffs. You know,
I don't want Judas on my team, man. Forget that. We can get the rest of it. I don't want Judas.
No, Judas would be our goon. He would just do crazy stuff like slap people around. But you know what? For the coaching staff, man, anytime you got to give them an F because anytime you as a team are allowing the inmates to run the asylum, you got to give them an F.
Anytime a coaching staff says it's okay losing 10 games in a row, that lets you know what they're worth at that point. You're never supposed to be okay with losing like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and then taking this, like you said, letting the team run everything, right? You got too many captains. I think about 8 captains. Then you got a leadership committee, et cetera, et cetera. Just all chaos when you really look at it. So this really just have been a disappointing season for the Bears because you actually are questioning some of the players or who you may not be able to just bring back that are on the contract because not that they may not be good players, but sometimes you have to move. What did it say? One bad apple will spoil the whole bunch or whatever.
The whole bunch.
Yep.
Whatever the term is. Sometimes you just develop a losing culture and you got to clean things out and start over with some players. So that's the sad part about it,
Mm-hmm.
It's business.
Another rebuild again, huh?
Pretty much.
Braxton Jones was hurt today. I think he hurt his ankle. It was a pretty horrific ankle injury. I hope he's okay. You know what? A lot of people don't like Braxton Jones and what he brings. I think as a 5th round draft choice, he has done above and beyond what's expected of him. By the same token, Tevin Jenkins was brought in as a 2nd round draft choice to be an offensive tackle. He's kind of bounced around on the line. I don't see Tevin Jenkins as somebody that the Bears can go forward with keeping as even as an offensive guard.
Mark my word.
He's not played more than he has played. So this is going to be a complete rebuild. We've got 3 of the first 50 draft picks. I think we're going to have to get a couple offensive linemen, at least one decent defensive line, because our interior is shoddy at best.
Mhm.
Yeah. But there's a sad part of the way things go and the way it's going to probably play out. As much as, like I said, Tevin is my guy, and he's been playing well under his capabilities. But unfortunately, on this line, he's been the tallest midget on the bus. And the way the Bears do it, they look up and say, "Well, we can actually go to a Target and get him some clothes, so we'll keep him." And that's sad. That's sad that when you have to look at it as opposed to winning teams, they're like, yeah, you're the tallest midget on the bus, but you're still a midget. Next. With us, we look at all the bright sides of things. What we have to do is be honest. We have to look at every doggone player on that squad and decide which players are untouchable, guys who have earned their spots. The rest of you guys, even if you were just good but not great, you should be worried about your spot or worried about being traded. It's too much of this era of sports and everything in general is a feelings era. Everybody in their feelings, man. Nowadays, you could be in last place, you get a trophy. Remember, you was in last place. It was like, no, man, you don't even get to. Not only you do not get on the camera, just get your clothes and leave. Just try next year.
The coaches would cut you out.
Yeah, it's too many. It's too much feelings. They reward people for losing. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if anybody else know this, but when I was 12 years old, my coaches cussed me out like I stole something from their family. And you just got used to being cussed out from coaches, and you tried to do better.
But did your parents know it? Did your parents know it? Nope.
No, my parents didn't come to every game either.
No, but even if they did come, but see, that's the difference with us. Man, my coaches cussed me. I mean, cussed us out like we was a pimp getting cussed out by a garden tool. And guess what? Never got to our parents. We thought about it, was like, well, yeah, maybe he right. Nowadays, if you sneeze on a kid, he done told his mama, he done told all his friends, but you want to walk around here talk about how hard or how much of a man you are. But then as soon as somebody raises their voice at you, you're crying. We need some people that ain't got no feelings.
I'm not trying to stand in the program. I seen a lady arguing with Marshawn Lynch because he had cursed at a training camp.
Yeah,
and her son, and they was kind of like almost trying to get in his face like he wanted to fight. And I appreciate what he did. He asked, could he talk to the father, right? Because he didn't want it to escalate with the lady, and he was trying like, hey, let me talk to the father. Maybe he understand what's going on. But that's what's wrong with the athletes as well. So that's why even when we mention the body language, right? That's what this era is, man. These guys have kind of came up like overall like soft. Everybody wins, everybody get a trophy, and if you don't like the way it going, just get in the transfer portal and transfer to another school. You know,
there you go.
It just like back in Pop Warner, where the basketball, right, where guys were able to just move from team to team. AAU ball, right? So now college football has become like AAU ball. Hey, y'all got anything before we close out for the night?
I'm gonna be crying, man. But you know what? I feel better. I'm looking forward to the off season, which for 9 months we look forward to the actual games. I haven't looked forward to a game for the last 2 months, man.
I haven't either. What you got, guy, before we close out?
Feliz Navidad, Prospero Año y Felicidad. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa. May all you and your families be well and blessed. And I hope you all don't eat too much.
Joyous Noel. All right, let's go.
Thank y'all. Peace.
Peace.